Hello hunters, I hope you're doing well. The maximum upgrade for shadows is now on general rank. This has been introduced on Barrow's arrival and every shadow can now be upgraded to it. Upgrading a shadow will grant another skill in which we'll talk about in this video. We will go through each new passive and see which one is worth upgrading first. Starting with our boy, Igris. He unlocks the new skill, the Commander's Touch. Pulling the enemies in front, Igris attacks by striking down with a sword. Additionally, it inflicts bleed to enemies hit. So this is one of his skill on the instance dungeon where he grabs you and you get slowed. Then after you're sucked in, he slams his sword into your face. I know you remember that skill. We died a lot at that part on the early stages of the game. With that, his general skill is a damaging skill. It also has a semi-crowd control where he pulls the enemies up front, then inflicts a bleed. I'll put him on the S tier for the shadows you need to prioritize maxing. Second to check is Iron. Unfortunately, there is nothing to talk about our guy here. His Elite Knight skill was better since it can provide a shield. And this general skill called the Iron Special seems to be just a playful skill he invented where he combines an attack using his battle hammer and shield. Story-wise, this is a nice touch to put more personality on Iron. Game-wise, not very optimal to increase your damage or survival. And with that, I'll put him on the B tier. Third is Tank. His general skill, Tank Roar. Tank roars loudly and attack nearby enemies within a circular range. Similar with Iron, this is also just a pure damage skill with no additional buffs aside from the 1.5% defense increase on his Shadow Authority passive. I'll put him on the B tier together with Iron. Fourth is Blades. Blades doesn't disappoint since the very beginning. His general skill is the Silent Slash, where he hides in the fog and disappears, reappearing from above the enemy and slashing them down. You should be pretty familiar with this skill since he uses this on the battlefield of time. Anyway, his general skill is very great as it increases the user's critical hit rate by 50% for 10 seconds. That means if you have 50% crit rate, then the moment you summon your shadows, you'll have 100% crit rate for the next 10 seconds. And that is OP. With that, I'll place Blades on the SS tier. Fifth is Big Rock. His general skill is Mana Discharge. Big Rock roars up front, releases mana, and deals damage. He is similar to Iron and Tank that doesn't provide new utility or buff on his general skill. But Big Rock is great because of his Shadow Authority passive, which is universal. It increases the entire team's basic skill damage by 12%. That means whatever stats they are scaling, HP, defense, or attack, as long as they use basic skills, then they'll benefit greatly with this passive. With that, I'll put Big Rock on the S tier for the shadows you need to upgrade. Sixth is Tusk. His general skill, Claws of the Rampaging Fire Dragon. This is when Tusk throws Fury Blades up front for 3 times. This is similar on the instance dungeon where he teleports and throws Fire Blades. Although his general skill has no additional buff, he is related to Big Rock, which his asset is on the Shadow Authority passive. Since he increased in not specific stats, it makes him more versatile than Iron and Tank, which increases HP and defense specifically. And with that, I'll put Tusk on the S tier for the shadows to upgrade. 7th to check is our good boy, Serby. His general skill, the Infernal Flame Wave. Serby sends a blast of fire towards the enemies. So I believe this is what I called the flamethrower before on my previous videos. Alright, at least now we know what's the right name. Additionally, it inflicts the combustion debuff, which is a burn that deals damage every 3 seconds, and it increases the damage taken by 5%. The duration for it is infinite, or until the battle ends. Even though this buff is very good, this is already unlocked even on a common rank Serby, so technically nothing new on his general rank. You can leave him at common and he'll do those debuff. And with that, I'll put Serby on the A tier for the shadows you want to upgrade. 8th on the list, Kaisel. Its general skill, Wrath of the Wyvern. Kaisel releases a roar and attack nearby enemies. Additionally, it increases the user's attack for 100% for 10 seconds. That means you'll do double damage in the next 10 seconds, and this will overlap with his Elite Knight skill that increases speed by 10%. So with Kaisel maxed, you'll get an attack increase plus speed buff, which is a nice combo. And with that, I'll put Kaisel on the SS tier. Last but not the least, Beru. His general skill, Make Way for His Highness, is another pure damaging skill with no additional buffs or utility. He is on the same boat with Serbi, where his basic skills has buffs and the Elite Knight and general skills are pure damage. The great thing about Beru is he has double Shadow Authority passive, which increases attack and crit damage. And he can heal and inflict damage increase with his basic skills. And with that, I'll put Beru on A tier for the shadows you need to prioritize maxing. And that concludes this video on which shadows you should prioritize to max into general rank. Here's the tier list for the summary of everything we've talked about. Remember, this tier list is designed to help you make most out of your upgrades, but it's not set in stone because future patches or rework could change things up. That said, the best advice I can give is to upgrade the shadows you love the most. At the end of the day, enjoying the game is what matters. And if it's maxing Beru, then yes, do it. Until next time, happy gaming.